With the April 15th, 2024 ban list came back a lot of cards, including Orcust Harp Horror. There's a ton of different ways to play Orcust now that it's back to 3, but I had been eyeing a runick bystial variant of it back in March. Twitter user Nebula Neos posted this list that had inspired me to pick up the deck. However, I've been holding on to this stuff ever since then, and with everything else I've been releasing on this channel, I had to delay making this video until now. The footage you're going to see is from a few weeks ago, and honestly, I had a lot of fun playing the deck, so I may end up revisiting it sometime soon. Plus, you're definitely going to be seeing another runick video from me in the near future, thanks to the release of the Lightsworn support in LEDE. Round 1, I was up against Carl on Tenpai Dragons. Now back at the time of recording, it was the day after Legacy Destruction came out, and while I had a general idea of what Tenpai Dragon did, I misplayed a ton and ended up getting destroyed. Watching back over this footage is legitimately making me cringe, like when I flip up my counter trap on an unaffected Pydra while having runick destruction that I just hadn't used on the field spell yet. Regardless, I learned a lot from this match, so good games to Carl. Round 2, I was up against Clayton on Marincess. I won the die roll and went first, and I have the nuts, setting up a board of oof. Yeah, okay. Well, since he didn't hold it until the end of the main phase, I'm still able to end on Fountain, 2 back row, including a crescendo that's being set for turn 3, and Dingirsu to send his nib. Clayton starts by normal summoning Sprint Girl and linking into Sea Angel, triggering Sea Angel as Chain Link 1 to add a Marincess spell, and Sprint Girl as Chain Link 2 to mill 1 card. I see this as a great opportunity to use freezing curses, so I chain that to negate his Sea Angel. Once he sees that Sprint Girl didn't mill anything relevant, Clayton scoops. Game 2, Clayton goes first and ends on a board of Great Bubble Reef, basically meaning that he probably drew more hand traps than engine pieces. I start my turn by using Destruction to special Hugin out, with Hugin discarding Freezing Curses to add Runick Fountain. I move to standby and Clayton draws a card off of Reef, but for like the first time I've ever played Runick, on Resolution I'm able to activate Runick Dispelling since a card was added from deck to hand. This ends up discarding his Ghost Ogre, which would have been detrimental to my Runick Fountain. I go to main and activate Fountain, and then follow it up with Orchestrated Return, discarding Harp Horror and drawing 2 cards. On Resolution, I can use Harp Horror to special Gearsu from deck, but Clayton chains Wave to negate it. Since Wave would also make his Marincess Link monsters unaffected when it resolves, I chain Freezing Curses to negate Bubble Reef. However, Clayton can just chain another Wave targeting my Hugin. This is actually crucial, as on Resolution, when I trigger Fountain to draw 3, Clayton drops another Ghost Ogre and my Hugin can't protect it. Linking my 2 monsters off, I can make Galatea, and use Galatea to shuffle back my Harp Horror and set Crescendo. One of the only ways to extend from here would be to have Bystials, and luckily for me, I had some. I summon out Saronir and Magnamut and trigger Magnamut. When that's done, I can link off Saronir for long Gearsu, with Saronir sending Lubellion. I'm locked into Dark, so I can't actually summon Lubellion, but this still lets me end on Crescendo's negate and Jerusalem being added off of Mag in the end phase. However, it ends up not being enough as Clayton easily breaks my board, and I didn't have enough cards to make a push on my next turn. Game 3, I went first, and unfortunately an Ash on my Fountain just stopped me as my hand was just 5 spells. I owned on Fountain, Hugin, and a set Runick spell in case he tried to get rid of my Fountain with Cosmic. When I pass back to Clayton, the first thing I do is tip in draw phase to grab Freezing Curses, and then I draw 3 off of Fountain. However, he couldn't play past Flashing Fire and Freezing Curses, and when he passes back to me, he scoops. Good games to Clayton. Round 3, I was up against Lumi on Sky Striker. This matchup was incredibly grindy and took forever as we're both playing control decks, though I will say it's actually an incredibly fun one, due to the sheer nature of how much interaction both of our decks actually have. But I will say, thanks to the runick card skipping my battle phase, it takes a very long time before I have a chance for lethal. I end up taking game 1 thanks to Regain giving me an endless conga line of assholes, and game 2, she didn't open like any striker cards, but she did open up a ton of board breakers and hand traps, so for the majority of the game, I just sat on a QCR Dingirsu until eventually I was able to game her. Good games to Lumi. I actually really loved playing this deck. Especially against grindy matchups, this deck feels like it has the potential to really snowball and get out of control. However, since you get dark locked so early half the time, you have to decide whether to play into nib or play conservatively without really making a board. I'm bad at making decisions like that, so luckily I only got punished once for making the wrong choice there. But overall, I love trying out the Orcust cards after wanting to for so long. They really do feel like they perfectly blend with Runick, and even with Bystials to a degree, even if they locked me out of summoning summoning Lubellion. Plus, I really like Orchestrated Return in this deck, as being able to draw 2 while scoping my graveyard is something the deck desperately needs. I'm considering bumping that card to 2 or maybe even 3, as it's just that good. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. I plan on uploading twice a week from now on, so if you enjoyed videos like this, make sure to stick around. And if you want a sweet playmat like mine, head on over to grimoireaccessories.com and use code GOKI5 at checkout for 5% off your entire order. But with that, my name is Gokuzemi, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya!